Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video, and it is time once again to lay out the foundations for everyone's struggles within Heroes Jubilee. Jubilee 16, which again is a turn limit boss battle, so we only have 2 fights here. I worked long and hard for that boss 2 score. I have not worked at all for my boss 1 score, because I think actually boss 1 is harder, because you have less time. So, but that's not what we're covering today. We are covering just the normal battles, of which I'm doing okay. Like, oh, I got passed again. Well, now I'm rank 4. I was rank 1 for a while, for normal 3. Rank 9, I think that's as high as I'm going to get, and then I can try and push out a little bit more on normal 1. But, yeah, I mean, again, I'm overall fine with this score. I'm not fine with number 8 still being 0.2%. That means that nobody is playing this Jubilee. So, get to it. Anyways, disclaimers before we get started is your results may vary. Let's see, over here, over here, this way, will be the protection characters. And don't forget to upgrade your magic buildings in town and assign their slots to them so they can get the maximum output. So, let's jump in to normal battle 1 then. Alright, so this is the first team that I built for normal 1. We've got Hakuro, we've got Millum up front alongside Wind Valentine for some extra starting points. So we've sacrificed one of our protection characters for the combination of Mill and Valentine, giving us, I think, 12 extra points right here. And then we've got Phobio for the orb change. Easily swappable, I think, with Murin as the 2 green to 2 orange. And then Benimaru's here to boost oranges. And then the hero for rewind, and Ranga for the AoE on the kill turn. Because these ants, I think they're ants, do have physical resistance, right? So attacking them with the hero or Carrion or someone, or even the new space team, doesn't really work that well. They just take a lot less damage. And it's for 5 turns, and the kill turn is 3, so it's all of them have it. So the idea is that turn 1, we're going to have enough points to both orb change and do something else with this hand, which I cannot fully remember. Oh, it's turn 1, orb change and rewind, I think. If we're lucky. I think. Let's dive in. We'll figure it out as we go, right? So here we go. Let's fast forward here. Okay. At least I think I'm remembering this right. Okay. So there we go. We've got less protection gauge, but we've got 4 orange and 2 green. So we'll turn 1, we'll use Phobia. So we got 42 points, yeah. So orb change. Oh, and the orange boost. Okay, so Benimaru's orange boost is what's going to get us alts and the Hakuro meter. So then we'll swap out Phobio for the hero and Ranga for Benimaru, because we want to build up Ranga and Millum's ult. That's the important thing. We need those. Ranga for the turn 3 and Millum for turn 2. Or turn 1, actually, I think. It might be turn... Actually, it's turn 2. No, it's turn 1. It's been a long day of Jubilee, and my brain is fried. Give me a break. Alright, so there we go. We have triple alts for everyone. Awesome. Excellent. So here, we have 65 points, and we're going to pop the space boost, and then we're going to send Ranga and the hero away. Because hero, we're going to hold on to her ult for round 2. Millum we're going to ult here, and then Ranga we're going to hold for phase 3. So Millum ult wipes out the ant. She's only got the space boost. It's not meant to do a lot of damage. It's meant to kill, right? And as much overkill as possible. So here, we've got 3 more ants with more physical resistance. And now that it's a new turn 3 technically, we can bring in the hero for Phobio. Use the rewind, alt, after I think about it a little bit. I think I'm remembering what the team was, what we were supposed to do. So here we go. So Hero still has a space boost, so even though they have physical resistance down, she's still going to do decent damage. So we've got the Hakuro. We're going to use Rewind here. Still got the space boost on Hero. We're going to kind of spread some damage out just to get them as low as possible. Or send the ult, and then send the other 2 oranges for maximum points engage. So here we go, 1, 2, and 3. And then there's the ult, 11,500 each. It's enough to wipe all 3 ants, though. The Rewind kicks in, and then we're going to bring in Ranga. And now we have enough points for both, well, not both, but we have enough points to then put the hero buff on Ranga. So he still has a space boost from Milim, turn 1. Now he has the crit boost, and now he literally can't send anything else because these ants don't have a lot of health. We can send heroes, you can't send Milims, and you definitely can't send Rangas. Like, look at that, the hero does almost kills, so it's kind of janky right there. But then Ranga comes in and wipes out all 3 of those ants for 39-8, which I think is still my highest score. It can definitely get better. There are better comps for this that I've seen, but I can't work them. But that's the first team. It gets me a decent score. So let's move on to the second team that we have for this. Alright, so the second team, we actually pop over to my Asia account because it has Guy, Velzard. If you have Leon as well, that would work a lot better than Ranga does, but that account doesn't have Leon, sadly. Or not sadly, because whatever. But it's essentially kind of the same. You're still rewinding, you're still ulting in 3 turns, it's just that you're now using Guy to give us full greens and to just immediately give us ult gauge when we proc him. So we still got Miram for the orb change. The only person here who really doesn't have a use is Velzard, because I don't have enough points to use everything for her. So let's go ahead and jump into this one. Eventually. Yeah, we'll just fast forward a little bit. Okay. So we're going to orb change with Mirren this time. So Phobia or Mirren works, it's fine. Neither of their traits really does anything for this team, so it doesn't really matter if you have one over the other, that's fine. So there's the full hand of orange. We're going to bring Ranga in for her. And now, let's see, what are we going to do here? I believe we send it like this, yeah. So we're going to send 4 on the middle one, and then 2 on one of the other ones. That way, both of them die. So 4 attacks is enough to kill the middle one. 2 attacks, because one of them is 200% boosted, is enough to kill the second ant, which leaves 1, which is fine. Now here, we have enough so we can pop the Rimuru buff on Ranga, and then Guy will immediately give Ranga his ult. And Rimuru, which is important. So now we're going to swap Ranga away for the hero, and then we're going to bring Mirren in for Rimuru. So we're going to hold on to both those ults. So we're just going to send this and kill the ant. I could have sent less Mirren and more hero, I guess, for more damage, but it's fine. So now here, turn 3, it is a new turn, which means that I can bring in Rimuru after we use the rewind. And then his ult can go ahead and wipe alongside Velzard's ult. I mean, you can have either or. We swap Velzard out. But here we have 1, 2, and 3. He still has his attack boost on him, so he will hit decently hard. So there we go. So there we go. We go 1, 2, and 3. I was about to send it all on 1, which would have been a mistake. So we spread out the damage from Rimuru, and then ult, get them as low as possible. And then ult away, he wipes. Again, he does less damage because of the physical resistance, but it's fine. And then, now the rewind kicks in, we are on phase 3, and now, like before, we can bring in Ranga, use the crit buff from the hero, and we'll be all set. And we actually, luckily, kind of have a good hand, because we have 4 hero cards, which means we can do 3 attacks on each of the ants, and not kill them, but get them lower. So, 1, 2, 3, Ranga ult, and then the 4th, because I don't want that extra 110%, because we might actually kill one of those ants. And then Ranga comes in 18-6. I don't think it's as high as the first team got, but it is still a strategy and a score, and we still get 39, right? So, it's okay. But there is another team that you can use for normal 1. Now let's move on to normal 2. Alright, here is the first team for normal 2, and I know it's hilarious. We have Octogram Daggerel here, finally able to be useful for one thing and one thing only, and it's hilarious, but it actually works out. The only way this would be better is if we had Velzard instead, because they both do instant damage, which is really what we're looking for with this team. So we've got Shizu. Don't pay too much attention to the Orc. I think I forgot to swap him out for Ramirez. I might do that in the video. I'm not entirely sure. But Shion, obviously, for the nuke. Rimuru for his trait. Yuki for the orb change. And then Hero, and then Daggerel. Yuki, if you have Velzard, can, I think, take the spot of both Daggerel and Yuki. So that frees you up to add another unit here. I don't really know who you would bring. Again, maybe you could bring Leon, I guess. You could run a space team here as well, especially since Velzard fits the orb change. So let's go ahead and jump in. I think we have to fast forward a little bit, though. Yes, okay. So here we go. Turn 1, Yuki orb change. Standard stuff. So they put a whole bunch of weird seals on you, but it doesn't affect your damage at all. And thankfully, these sharks don't have any kind of extra resistance against anything, so they die much easier, and you can use physical characters here. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing as the 4 send and then 2 send on 2 different sharks to make sure that 2 of them die. So we take as little damage as possible here. Just 1 attack instead of 2 attacks. So 2 sharks are dead. Awesome. And now, and we guarded 1 hit, so even better. We're going to rewind. We're on turn 2. And I think that's all we do. I don't think we use the Pierce resistance down yet. I think we save that for phase 3. Oh, we use some buffs, though. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. Alright. So go ahead and do that, and then do that. We'll bring Daggerel in for the hero, since she has served her purpose for now, as far as using the rewind. Go ahead and use Shizu, and then, with all the buffs we get from rewind and the greens and everything, this will be enough to get another Shizu and maximum points right here. So 1, 2, and then Shion cleans up with a crit, natural crit. And now here's where Daggerel shines, right? Shines. I just got done recording the tier list today, and oh man, I did not hold back. Alright, so more resistances, that's fine, whatever, it's still turn 2. So now we can use Daggerel's instant damage skill and take them down almost to half health, which actually surprised me. 248 is a large amount. So yeah, under half health right there. And now we are going to use the Pierce resistance. No, we're not going to, because we don't need to yet. Okay, we're up to 95% Pierce rate. I believe we use this here again. And then we just kill, because they're under half health, they're going to die easily. So there we go, maximum points right there. So that then gives us enough points to use the hero crit, the Pierce resistance down from Rimuru, and then Shion's buff. And since it's all within 3 turns, all of these skills are, buffing up the Pierce rate and Pierce power for Shion. So here, we actually get a decent natural hand of greens, almost. So we don't really need to use anything. So Hero comes in for Daggerel. Go ahead and use the crit, use Pierce resistance, and then the Pierce power and attack. Make sure that whoever you put the Pierce resistance on, you actually nuke with Shion, otherwise you're just taking points away from yourself. Can't really reliably send too much here except for that one Hero orb, maybe a Rimuru. Because, everyone's boosted, they don't have a lot of health, they don't have an extra resistance. Shion will murder one of these immediately. So we have 2 ults, and then we're going to clean up with a Shion orb. So yeah, Rimuru there doesn't quite kill. Shion ults the middle one, because that's who we put the resistance down on. Rimuru does his ult for 24, which is not nearly as good. And then Shion does 14,000. Could be better if we got more hands of like Rimuru and we can bump up that damage from Shion a little bit. on that final orb, but hey, that works out. 35-7 is okay for now. I think it's just a little bit lower than what my current score is. But that is the first team that I've got. Let's move on to the fun team. The team that took me hours last night. Literal hours. Okay, this is the fun team. Win 2.0, a team that I absolutely despise, but somehow keeps creeping back into every single Jubilee that I need to run it in, so whatever. Alright, Gabiru. Orb changing. Magic attack boosting. And giving us, 15 points. It's not great, but it is what it is. Shuna's here because she's green, or she's not green, she's wind. She's also got the orb change. Geld is here for his orb change. Hero is hero. Diablo and Milim are here for the nukes. And it's very interesting to try and play around, because ideally, in a perfect world, we would want the magic attack from Gabiru on both Milim and Diablo, because Milim has higher starting attack than Diablo does, but Diablo, once you put his attack boost, gets to be just a tad bit higher for me than Milim. So this might not work if your Diablo is 100 or higher than mine and can outpace Milim's natural attack stat. But either way, let's go ahead and give this a whirl. We do have to fast forward a little bit. Okay, so here we go. Turn 1. We've got Geld, Shuna, and Hero up front. Shuna's going to orb change those blues into green. Again, all these seals go up. Doesn't matter about them, don't worry. So we'll use that, and then we'll bring Milim and Gabiru in. Or not Gabiru, Diablo, sorry. Gabiru's Protector. Alright, so we're going to leave Hero here for now. We're going to, again, send 4 and 2 to make sure that 2 sharks die. Since Diablo has lower attack, we're going to send Milim last, because we don't have his attack buff on yet. And because I've put Butler Veldora as a support for Milim, his trait actually comes into effect where he increases the attack stat of if you send 6 greens, which we just did. So now Milim has higher attack than Diablo, even with his attack boost, I believe. So hilariousness. Right here, we're gonna burn 4 oranges after we use Diablo's attack buff, just to make sure he hits a little bit harder. So now we're gonna bank on Diablo killing the left shark, and then the 3 follow-ups killing this shark here, which it does. You can get very unlucky, and it can guard. It's kind of just RNG right there. Rewind kicks in. Turn 2 as well. So here, we have 1 orange. And if you get more than 1 orange, or if you get like 3 oranges, you're fucked. Because you can use Geld's orb change here. It'll change 2 of them. But if you get any more than that, the run's dead. You kind of need a full 6 card of greens here. So now, Gabiru's magic attack boost goes to Milim. It is a 1-turn boost, unfortunately, and not a 2-turn, which is unfortunate because it would really work out well with the team that we're running here. Because I can't swap out Diablo. If you manage to get like a bunch of oranges for Diablo and you immediately get his ult, then it can work out, actually. It actually can work out really well, but I didn't get that lucky here. So because you could then swap Diablo out to the back and then bring him in on turn 3, and then the trait from Butler Veldora will run off on Milim, so she'll have lower attack. But you can use it. You can use Gabiru twice on turn 3 right here, right? So we've got double Gabiru meter, full hand of blues. The magic attack boost has gone to Diablo now. We're going to use the hero crit buff, and we had enough to use the Milim ult boost. So now, Diablo's boosted 3 times. His attack boost, the hero buff, and then the ult boost. Milim has the ult boost and the hero buff. And like I said, ideally, if you get lucky, you could try and put the magic attack boost on Milim as well right here, if you could send Diablo to the back earlier. But we didn't, so be careful with how much you send here, because she does a lot of damage. Diablo here, 66k. If your Diablo is not a noodle like mine is, he will hit much harder. And then 31k, I think when I had the magic boost on Milim, she did like 40k, so you can definitely increase your score right there. But 36-1 is higher than the light team got that we did earlier. It just, this one takes a bit more RNG. So there is the second team that you guys can use for normal 2. Let's move on to the final battle, normal 3. Alright, so this is the team that I've built for normal 3, and it's the team that's gotten me my highest score so far. We've got Shizu for the Pierce and the 3 and 3 greens. We've got Xion for the nuking, Hero for the rewind and the crit, Rimuru for his trait and his skills, Dark Xion for her poison dodge, because the way to maximize your score here is by taking as little damage as possible, and that means either killing very quickly or killing quick-ish while taking less damage. So the snake poisons you on turn 3, and Dark Xion's most often unused skill and unleveled skill is a 100% chance to dodge poison. So I actually had to level it up, and we'll actually get some usage here. And then Light Hinata is here for extra defense. She has the highest defensive buff in the game with 40% for the team, and it only costs 15 points. So combine, 40% extra defense alongside dodging poison means you will take less damage, which will increase your score. Because if you didn't know, Stage 3 has a damage cap. Once you do over 50k overkill, your score stops, right? And then the only way to increase it is to take less damage. So let's go ahead and find where this clip actually starts, and then we will begin. Turn 1. Alright. Turn 1. We've got 2 oranges and 4 greens, which works out because both Xion and Rimuru have 1 and 1. So we have a full hand of greens. We're going to send it as is. He has a lot of guard and a lot of defense. There are chances and there are times where you can get unlucky where you're like fully boosted and you think you can send stuff, and then Xion, it doesn't guard, and then Xion just kills it. It can happen. It has happened. So here, we're going to rewind. We're going to pierce resistance down. So that's 4 skills right now. And then we're going to bring in Hinata for hero, use her defense buff, so it hits both Xion and Rimuru. And then we're going to swap Hinata out for Xion and use her poison dodge, which I've got 96%. So, I'm playing with fire, I guess. And then we're going to use Shizu. So now we've got a full hand of greens, we've got a lot of skills that we've used, and this is almost enough to get Xion's ult. We only got 1 orb there, so we're still 1 away. But thankfully the rewind kicks in, and because we've used all those buffs, and the rewind gives us another Shizu Protector, and also enough points to use both the orb changes again. I didn't need to, because there were no oranges there, but it's more skills, which is, increasing Xion's pierce damage. And then, there we go. We've got another 6-card send to, take the snake down even more. He still has a decent amount of health left, but we have triple ults, of which we're only going to send 2. And we don't have enough for a full Shizu, but again, that is fine. So now we're going to swap Rimuru out for the hero, use her crit buff, and then Xion's attack boost, which is up to, I think, 51% now. And she's already got guaranteed pierce from the last turn. We're going to send 1 attack for her, Dark Xion's ult, which 11,000 or something like that, so yeah, not quite enough to kill. And then Light Xion comes and cleans up with a crit pierce 64k, and that, let's take a look at the scoreboard. So overkill damage score 57.7, max, right? If it hits 50, it's max, so that extra 7747 doesn't matter. Turn score, turn 3, maximum score, kill turn is turn 5, but we don't want to go that far because we'll take more damage. And then our damage received score, 1924 for minus 196 points. So there is a team that can kill this snake in 2 turns with a 100 Hakuro and a 100 Water Hinata. I have seen it. I can't do it. So I've tried it, but my 84 Hinata just doesn't do enough damage, and she doesn't do damage cap. So, but he did it in 2 turns, which he took less damage, and he's currently number 1 on the stage, so it worked for him. But there is the first team for Normal 3. Let's move on to the final segment of the video, the second team you can try and use for Normal 3. Alright, so here is the final team. Hakuro and Milim. You know, because Milim we know does a lot of damage. She can easily hit Cap if we can get, you know, enough buffs on her. We've got Soe for his orb change, so we've foregone the two singles into his double. We've got Shuna for her orb change if we need it, and her ult boost. Dark Xion is again here for her poison dodge, and then Hero and Milim are Hero and Milim. So let's go ahead and throw this video on and pop. Alright. So turn 1, we're going to orb change with Soe. So get another 6-card send. And then we're going to bring in Milim and Hero for Xion and Soe. We're going to leave Shuna here because her trait will give us skill points next turn, which will be good. So here, 6-card send. We've got a Hakuro meter. We're going to have 80, what I think, like 89 points or something after her trait is done. And then there's an attack, and we counter. And now 88 points, sorry. Okay, so here, we're going to rewind. We don't need to worry about using a lot of skills to stack up power, because that's not how, we're not running the light team. We're going to use Drago, and we're going to use the rewind, because these two Milim orbs are going to get us the ult for Milim. So we're going to take out Shuna now, because we've used her trait. We're going to pop our defense buff. And then we're going to pop Hakuro, change the entire hand into oranges, and we're going to leave it. Because we don't need to worry about the poison dodge yet. I just want to make sure we don't take any weird counters, right? That's why we pop the defense now. You can pop the poison now if you want. It really doesn't matter. It's still turn 2. So there we go. We have the ult for Milim. We also have the ult for the hero. It doesn't really matter. So now, because Milim has Drago on, now she has a space boost on, we're going to send her away. That way we can hold on to those buffs. We're going to bring Xion in, use the poison dodge. So now the hero and Soe still have defense. Xion does not have defense, but she has the poison dodge. So hopefully it doesn't hit Xion. There's a dodge, and he hit Xion, because that's how the game loves to troll. So ideally he wouldn't hit the one character that doesn't have defense up. So right here we're on turn 3. We're not quite ready to nuke yet, because I want to have enough points to use, you know, 2 more buffs. I want to use the crit buff, and I want to use the ult buff. So I needed another turn. I could have killed here on turn 3, maybe. I don't think I would have gotten maximum score though, so that's the thing. So now we've got 76 points. We've got enough to use 2 more buffs. So here we're going to bring Milim in, we're going to bring Shuna in, and then we're going to pop the ult boost, and then we'll pop Hakuro, and that will give us just enough points to use the crit buff for the hero. And there we go. So now Milim has Drago, space, crit, and ult boost on her, so she is... Great, my cat's throwing up. Hooray! Cat ownership. Alright, so we send some attacks. Doesn't kill, thank God. And then Milim comes in with 84,000, which I think seems a little low, but whatever. Alright, so it gets me 53,577. So we still hit damage cap right here. Still max turn bonus on turn 4. It's just we took more damage right there. So that, you know, caused our score to go down. So, but it's still, you know, 53.5, right? It's still okay, right? I think, what, 53.8, I think is my high score right here. So definitely play around with this. But those are the normal battles, 2 teams apiece that you can use. Let me know in the comments what other teams that I didn't show did you find success with that you can maybe pass on to the rest of the community. But that's it for me, guys. I'm going to go clean up cat vomit. So I'll see you guys later. Bye!